Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Feel like a lost ball in high weeds when it comes to retirement? Stay tuned as I reveal 4 keys to making retirement simple and worry-free.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, award-winning annuity expert and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
One of the most frequent comments I get from savers who come into my office wanting to retire is as follows. Tony, to be honest with you, when it comes to investing and planning for retirement, I feel ignorant. Now, Webster's dictionary defines ignorant this way: simply lacking knowledge or comprehension of the thing specified. Now, if we're honest with ourselves and admitting that we are ignorant, as Will Rogers once said, he once said, we are all ignorant on different subjects. So let's admit that, yes, we are ignorant on certain subjects. But this is a retirement planning show, so we're talking about a very complicated subject, so no wonder many people feel ignorant. Now, nobody likes to admit that they're ignorant on any subject. I hate to admit when I'm wrong. I try not to be a know-it-all, and sometimes I just admit I don't understand something. That's a good position to be in. But that's why the financial world and many of its advisors sometimes can take advantage of you. They know that they know more than you do. And that's really most of this game. It's really simple. In order to get you to hand over your hard-earned money to them, all they got to do is convince you that they know more than you do, which is not saying much since you just admitted that you're ignorant when it comes to money and more specifically, retirement. Now, the result of such ignorance is many of us tend to follow the herd. By the way, in my book, Don't Follow the Herd, I address this topic and the 7 biggest mistakes to avoid following the herd. But enough on that. What are we talking about today? We're talking about this theme we've touched on for the last couple of weeks, retiring sooner than you think. Well, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, folks. I am Tony Walker, your host. With us in the studio is America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Norander, and his sidekick, Matt Stebbins, doing a great job of producing the show. And we're going to try to help you today understand better what you've got, and more importantly, how you're going to make this money last the rest of your life. So, how do you respond to this subject or any endeavor that you feel ignorant of? There's really 2 things that can happen if you feel like a lost ball in high weeds. First of all, you've got to admit that this is a subject you're ignorant on. So you can either, 1, walk away from it, which is not necessarily a bad thing to do, or number 2, find someone that can make the complicated subject you're trying to learn about, in this case retirement planning, easy to understand. Oh, by the way, speaking of lost balls and high weeds, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Golf. I love golf. I've played golf ever since I was like 12 years old when my parents divorced. My dad took us off to the driving range for, I guess, some therapeutic work on the driving range in a par 3 course. But I love the game. But here's what I've found out. The more I make this game complicated, the more I think through all the different nuances of the golf swing and all that, the more I tend to end up over in the weeds. Many of you suffer from this, I guess. Take note of this. Be aware that the financial world wants to do this. They want to make this complicated, and that's why sometimes you feel like your money's flying over into the weeds. If I can I stay on the golf theme just for a second longer? We're so excited to sponsor Emma Talley. Emma Talley's a well-known professional golf player. She did her high school golf here in Kentucky, won 3 state championships, won the NCAA individual honors at Alabama, and now she's an LPGA professional. Well, Tony Walker Financial, as a sponsor, recently had Emma to 2 junior golf clinics, one at Oxmoor Country Club here in Louisville, and the other at the club at Old Stone in Bowling Green. By the way, I've got lots of trinkets. My wife, I've told her, I said, honey, when I die, you're not going to have any problem filling up that funeral home. We got bobbleheads, we got books, and now, yes, we've got Tony Walker Financial golf balls. Obviously, I probably ordered too many of these. We handed out sleeves of golf balls to all the junior golfers. But you know what? The way I've been playing lately, I'm probably going to need them. Now, again, I'm not trying to get too much into the golf thing, but also we got to talk about the idea of savers. So in the game of golf, you have an objective. What are you doing playing golf? And for me, it's to shoot a decent score. I say decent, but also to enjoy the game. So as savers, I know savers very well, folks. Savers have to decide, what is it they're really trying to do here? What are you trying to do with this money that you've stockpiled for retirement? Remember, it is for retirement. It's meant to be used and enjoyed. I'm not trying to make my clients 10, 20%. I'm not trying to leave millions of dollars to the next generation. What I'm trying to do is help my clients use and enjoy and protect this money. And if that's you, if you're sitting there saying, hey, that sounds like me, I've got to find somebody that can help me make sense of my money, and I want to understand how to use and enjoy it, you've come to the right place. And when I come back, we're going to go over these 4 secrets and talk to you about why the financial institutions and the advisors and the government, quite frankly, have made this way too complicated. You're watching the WorryFree Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Tired of getting up every day and heading off to work with no end in sight? I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and I've helped lots of people retire much sooner than they ever thought possible, and maybe I can help you do the same.
If you're over the age of 50 and have at least $250,000 to invest, schedule your free meeting with Tony to see if you can retire sooner than you think. Simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
You know, things have gotten complicated. It wasn't so in my granddad's day. Very simple stuff. He started with Bell South in 1932, retired in 1978. He kept his nose clean. This is what people did back then. Hung in there, retired at the magical age of 65, drew their pension plan checks. He called it mailbox money and Social Security. That was it. It was kind of a set it and forget it. So problem is, people today are not eligible for pension plans. Social Security is probably not going to be enough. But so that makes the average retiree retiring later, right? Actually, no. Surprisingly, even with all of the complexity of today's retirement plans, more and more people are actually retiring earlier, sooner than they think, which is a little scary because I see all these people retiring and they don't have a game plan. In fact, let's look at a survey recently done by the 2017 Federal Reserve. It's titled The Survey of Household Economics and Decision Making. And surprisingly, I think surprisingly, this survey found that nearly 40% of workers retire on or before age 60. Now, I think this is shocking because, again, most of these people don't have a game plan. It would kind of be like you deciding to build a really nice home, okay? We went through this. I wanted to build a really nice home, and what I decided to do was find an architect that could design this type of home. I ended up using a gentleman out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, because this was going to be a unique home. Now, can you imagine if I just looked at a magazine or went on the internet and read a bunch of goofy articles about how to design this type of home and just told my builder, hey, here's how we're going to do this. Have at it, partner. Let's go. He would have said, wait a minute, where's the plans, Tony? I don't even know where to start. Well, that's what many of you are doing. You're blindly turning over your money to others, and you have nothing in writing. You have no plan. You have no documentation on how you're going to do this. And this is scary stuff. Folks, since 9/11, I can document this, have met with over 5,000 people in person dealing with retirement planning. I've personally written and orchestrated over 2,000 retirement income plans. That's a lot of people and a lot of knowledge and experience that I can share with savers. I've been in the retirement trenches a long time, and here's what I've discovered. There are 4 secrets to retiring worry-free, but you've got to take advantage of these secrets. So number 1, figure out in retirement what your take-home pay will be and spend up to the take-home pay. Now you might be saying, take-home pay, Tony? I don't have a paycheck anymore. I just retired. Well, see, there's part of your problem. You have to imagine Remember, there's people at work and capital at work. You've worked hard, that's you. You've had take-home pay, that was the amount of money you had after taxes, after all these deductions. Still think of it as a paycheck, folks. We've got to take that 401k or IRA or Social Security. We have to send you an amount of money that you're going to spend. Now, much of this money is going to be taxed. Let's use an example. Let's say you have $5,000. That's going to be your, quote, take-home pay, or so you think. You tell us or the 401k or whoever that you need $5,000 a month, so you think you got $5,000 a month to spend. Wrong. Assuming you're in a 20% tax bracket, you've only got $4,000 a month to spend. So you have to make sure your expenses are $4,000 a month, not $5,000 a month. The second thing you've got to look at is this really is like a ball game. There are really three halves of life when it comes to planning. And I know that sounds odd, but any ball game, when you think about it, has a halftime. That's the third half we're talking about. So with our proprietary software, with our proprietary way of doing things, the Worry-Free Retirement breaks up your life into three halves. First half is when you work, right? People at work. Halftime, really important age. Halftime is when you start thinking about retiring, usually around 60, or you've already retired, and this is the period of time we want to really enjoy our money, folks. It's halftime. You know, being in the trenches like this, I had over 20 appointments yesterday. We're recording this show on October 2nd, 2018. I'll have another 10 or 12 appointments plus a workshop tonight. All I do is talk to people about money. And what I've realized between the ages of 60 and 70 or thereabouts, that is the best time to enjoy your money. And in fact, I've had two people I've met recently, one a prospective client, the other a client, ironically, who have lost spouses. They've lost their loved ones at age 63. One diagnosed with cancer, died 4 weeks later. One diagnosed with cancer in January, died in July. Folks, this ain't going to last forever. You have to have a balance between stockpiling and saving money and enjoying that money. Because what's going to happen eventually, you move into what I call the second half of life, which is age 70 and a half. Why do we use 70 and a half? That's the magical age the politicians decided that they're going to tax your money. You have to begin taking distributions at this age from your 401k or IRA. We know the rules very well. We know how to mitigate the tax tumor. We know whether you should draw now or later. Do you do the RMD or more? All of that we can help you with, and we really are a trusted source of information on that. Number three, you got to have a guaranteed income. I call this mailbox money. Now, what does this mean if you're a saver? Just like my granddad, he had his mailbox money. Mailbox money is defined as money that's guaranteed to last as long as you do. But since you don't have a pension, since Social Security is probably not going to cut it, and now you got to manage this 401k or IRA, something my granddad never had to worry about, why in the world, think about this, just forget the word annuity, okay? Why in the world wouldn't you want something invested within that 401k or IRA that provides a guaranteed lifetime income? Well, folks, the only thing that can do that is an annuity. So when people say on the internet, I hate annuities and all that stuff, what they're saying is they're basically saying they hate the prospect of guaranteed lifetime income. Really? That's ridiculous. And if you're a saver, we recommend having a certain percent of your money in annuities. Not all of it, but some of it. In fact, if you're trying to learn more about annuities, if you've been to a dinner seminar, I'm telling you, this is what they're going to be cramming down your throat, is annuities. So you better learn about them. Again, don't be ignorant and just blindly throw your money into an annuity. Here's a great booklet you can order that I wrote. It's called The Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. It's absolutely free. You can call the toll-free number on your screen. We'll be happy to mail you a copy, again, free. We won't wear you out and bug you either. Or if you'd like to download a free copy, we have it on our website. Just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Get this booklet. It's a great little booklet. All right, we're talking about the 4 secrets to retiring worry-free and how to make your life simple. When I come back, I'm going to go to the whiteboard. I'm going to cover this last one, and then I'm going to go back to annuities and how to understand what we call an income rider. Very, very important stuff. It's going to tie in very well with who can you really trust with your money to keep it simple. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, thrift savings account, 403b, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For over 33 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Can you afford for your money to take a hit with the stock market being so volatile these days? Nobody can time the market, but having a retirement game plan with Tony Walker Financial gives you peace of mind and sleep insurance. Learn how to prevent losses in your retirement accounts and plan your retirement around an income you can never outlive. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com today to schedule a personal meeting with Tony to secure your hard-earned money. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Let's face it, the last thing you want in retirement is to be full of life and flat broke. I'm Tony Walker, and for the past 33 years, I've made it my life's mission to make certain that my clients don't go broke in retirement by providing mailbox money for life. Let me show you how easy it is to be worry-free in retirement by creating a guaranteed income you can never outlive. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started today. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and we're talking about the 4 secrets to make retirement easy to understand, less complicated, and of course, you're going to be more worry-free if you can get control of these. Now, number 4 is who can you trust? Particularly, we're tying it back into number 3. So annuities, if you're a saver, annuities need to be a part of your retirement game plan. They have to be because they're the only asset in your arsenal. Okay, we can help you with this. We do a lot of these. That's guaranteed to provide an income you can never outlive. Remember, that's the concept of my granddad's pension, mailbox money. Annuities are mailbox money. The problem is you can get licensed. Listen to this, folks. You can get licensed to sell annuities in about 6 weeks, and off you go. Pretty scary stuff. So what we're going to talk about in annuities is 2 things you need to understand that gets very, very confusing to people. With these modern-day hybrid annuities, there's 2 things to keep up with: the contract value and something called the income account. Now, the contract value, in its simplest term, is really, now we're talking about what's called income annuities, all right? There's all kinds of annuities, but we're just focusing on these because these get the most play. The contract value is what's going to go to your beneficiaries at death. And if you have an indexed annuity, it is linked to the stock market, all right? Sometimes it'll go up, sometimes it won't, but you can't lose anything. So savers love this product. Now, you come over to the income side. Recently, there was a company boasting of a 30% bonus. Now, we use this company. They're a great company, but the 30% bonus they were offering, and everybody was talking about following the herd. I've seen more people throw money in this, and then I asked them if they understood that the 30% bonus only applied to the income side. We have to understand the income side is for income only, all right? And at death, in most cases, all right, there's nothing left there. So the whole point is of an income annuity is we want to make sure you have guaranteed income for the rest of your life. But folks, any company, all right, that's paying 6%, 7%, offering a 30% bonus, what they mean is that's the growth of the income side. That's not money that's going to be passed off to your heirs. So you've got to understand the difference between contract and income side. Is this confusing enough for you already? Good. All right. Now, then you got to take the annuity, and this is where our Worry-Free Retirement game plan comes in. We're not done yet. That's just the annuity and understanding the contractual provisions of the annuity. Now we've got to look at your other assets. Money in the bank. Maybe you've got some real estate. Maybe you've got a brokerage account. I don't know. But you've got to look at those other assets to coordinate with the annuity because there's going to be different tax issues. Then you got to come over here and look at your Social Security. What's going to happen to Social Security when you die? Do you start the annuity or the Social Security first? Do you start the Social Security or delay the annuity? Again, there's a lot involved in what we call income planning. And then finally, this is what most financial advisors have no clue of and takes years and years to understand, is the costs associated with your game plan. In other words, how much is the tax tumor buried into your 401k plan? How much are the fees being charged? You know, I had somebody come in yesterday, it was hilarious. They said, I've got a 401k plan, I'm going to put in some money, and the match is 4% dollar for dollar. I said, that's a pretty good match, actually. I said, do you have the actual investments that go along with the 401k? And they said, yeah, here you go. And I said, what were you going to select? They said, I don't know, I don't have a clue. And I looked through there, the fees on these mutual funds in this particular 401k were ridiculous, folks. So again, in any income plan, buying an annuity, buying the different products that go in an income plan, ultimately the biggest situation is who can you trust and who are you going to follow with your money. I hope that gives you an idea of how we work. And at Tony Walker Financial, we would love to talk to you. Why don't you go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com right now and let's think about meeting in person. But you know what? We're not done yet. We're talking about following somebody, and the Bible has a lot to say about who you're going to follow, not only with your money, but with your life. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. I got to get me a cup of coffee.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, thrift savings account, 403b, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For over 33 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Tired of getting up every day and heading off to work with no end in sight? I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and I've helped lots of people retire much sooner than they ever thought possible, and maybe I can help you do the same.
If you're over the age of 50 and have at least $250,000 to invest, schedule your free meeting with Tony to see if you can retire sooner than you think. Simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
A good cup of coffee on this beautiful morning in our new Louisville studios, and we hope you're enjoying today's program about trying to keep things simple and who are you going to trust with your money. You know, it's interesting in the Bible, John 10:27 simply states the following. Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." Now, in my book, Don't Follow the Herd, I almost used sheep to describe how easy it is for the financial world to get you to follow them. But for some reason, I kind of like the illustration of cows. In Jesus' day, they didn't really have a lot of cows running around. They had sheep. And then they had shepherds who guided and protected the sheep. Makes sense, doesn't it? So kind of let's stay with the sheep theme and what Jesus is talking about. These are very powerful words. And you have to say, well, what do they have to do with us and our money, Tony? And who are we going to listen to when it comes to that? Folks, this is a complicated mess we've got out there. We've got tax laws, we've got fees, we've got when to take money, Social Security. It is very, very difficult to understand what to do, and the problem is with technology, with the internet, your mobile devices, all the books, there's millions and millions of opinions and sometimes know-it-alls that are calling you out and wanting you to follow them. I think we have basically become ignorant because we're human and we sometimes just are led astray. Either we're lazy or we just don't know what to do and we just say, all right, I'll just follow that person. Really pretty scary stuff. but not with sheep. See, Jesus says, first of all, these sheep hear His voice. And secondly, He knows His sheep, and then they follow Him. So like any financial advisor or advice giver, you will be hearing someone's voice. You can act like you're not going to listen to somebody. You're going to hear. If you're wide awake out there and turn on the TV, you're going to hear somebody's voice. And those people, it doesn't matter who they are, yours truly, this is what this show's about, they're calling you out to consider you putting your money with them. Now the problem is, you've got to ask yourself, does this person calling me out, like Jesus is saying, do they really know me? Well, let me say this. If you're a saver, I know you. If you're an investor or speculator, I really don't. Many of the people calling you out, they're trying to call out investors and savers. They don't know the mind of a savers. These advisors, for instance, you'll know if you've got my grandfather used to call these folks long-nosed phonies. You know you got a long-nosed phony if they're telling you to put 100% of your money in the market even though you're nervous about the market. Well, they don't know you. See what I'm saying? So you have got to decide who you're going to follow. You've got to admit there's going to be certain things you're ignorant on, and you are going to have to trust somebody. The great writer and theologian Charles Spurgeon speaks of this particular verse we're covering, and he says this, because Christ lives, we also live. We should follow Christ in, look at this, simplicity and faith, because the paths in which He leads us all end in glory and immortality. So, who are you following, and where in the world are they taking you? Well, I'm Tony Walker, and while I don't have the ability like Jesus to promise you eternal life, I do promise to work in your best interest. And assuming you're a saver, make sure that I do all I can to help you keep this stuff simple. And best of all, no matter whether you have $50,000 to invest or $5 million, it doesn't matter. I'm happy to sit down with you, nose to nose, knees to knees, in person, at absolutely no cost or obligation to share with you how the Worry-Free Retirement might help you worry less about money. So take advantage of our offer here. Meet with me in either our Bowling Green or Louisville, Kentucky office. It's easy to do, too. All you do is give us a phone call. We've got customer service representatives waiting 24/7 to take your information. The number is 877-499-9255. Or just as easy, run on over, follow me over to the internet, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and all you do is just click on that Let's Get Started button. Once you complete that information, we will call you confidentially and figure out how we can help you, and then when a convenient time for you and I to meet again at either our Bowling Green or Louisville, Kentucky office. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's program. I've certainly enjoyed being with you. You remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.
Thank you for watching the Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker. If you need a safe and simple game plan for your retirement, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and schedule a free, no-obligation meeting with Tony.